Poly is the short term for what we call polyurethane.
Okay, so what is polyurethane?
Polyurethane is technically, it's a urethane alkyd. So it is basically a alkyd varnish that has some urethane in it. Now, when polyurethane was first introduced, it was very rarely called polyurethane. They were trying to market people over to it. So the first name for this on the consumer market was brought out by a company which in the old days we called Verathane company, which was a hybrid of varnish and polyurethane. You may have heard it. You can still actually buy it. It's made by the Flecto company now. But that was a way to kind of like maneuver people over to polyurethane. Polyurethane is a very good finish. It's very durable. It's oil-based. It's easy to apply. The only downsides to it is that it can be, because it's so tough, it's not really a very clear product. It has a little bit of a hazy quality to it. It's a subtlety, but what happens is that when you build up a fairly thick polyurethane finish, it can get the looking what we call plastic very quickly. It also doesn't rub very well. It doesn't rub out very well. It can get really streaky, kind of like what happened to your table, and some other problems with it. But if you have to put a finish on shop floors, shop cabinets, wherever you need durability, a kitchen table for grandkids, you know, that type of thing, polyurethane is your best bet. It really is. Yeah, it can. Again, plastic is a very wrong term to use because technically they're all plastics. Yeah. But plastic, yes, yeah. You know, if you use a semi-gloss or a lower sheen, less glossy, yeah, it looks less encased, if you will. It's more of an aesthetic thing than anything else. We're going to be talking about sheen tomorrow in a little bit more detail. Go ahead.
Can you tint polyurethane?
You can tint it with typically anything that's going to mix with mineral spirits. So that usually means like any oil-based coloring. But typically it's not the easiest thing in the world to tint because it's very hard to find like oil-based dyes these days or something that's nice and transparent like trans tint. You can't use trans tint to tint it. Oil finishes are rather nice in that they're really, as far as it comes to application, very easy to apply. They're not real hard. My favorite method, believe it or not, with an oil finish is I don't so much like to brush them on as I like to wipe them on. I just get a lot better results wiping it on than I do brushing it. I'll show you the method that I use. No, just take it.
What does that have on it?
He had put a tung oil finish on this, and you know, he just said it was the Formbeast product. So you know, it's hard to say exactly what it was, other than we know It's some kind of varnish. Okay, exactly what it is, I don't know. He had trouble with it, rubbing it to an even sheen.
I want to see pictures, bring pictures in there.
Not a problem. I'll get my wife.
You could take what we did earlier, and you see these little shiny spots there? You could probably get this to an even sheen just by rubbing it with a piece of this Scotch Brite.
He's gonna order it and finish, I think, tomorrow.
Now, there's some things I don't think are going to go away, and I'm not quite sure what's causing them, but there's some like little streaks on here, like these darker red things. I'm not sure what that is. I know you did a lot of different things to this, and you know, it's hard to say, but you can actually rub that to a fairly dull sheen. So that's one way of dealing with that. But I'm going to just wipe on a coat of finish, just as a demonstration. I mean, if it's something that, you know, might be problematic, we can always just remove it.
That's right. Yeah. Make it right. Like a lot, strike.
Now, whenever you buy something that's satin or semi-gloss or something like that, there's a flattening agent or something, it's like a pigment almost. It's going to settle to the bottom of the can. And that's that stuff that creates, that's called a flattening agent. What I like to do in applying these is I just take a paper towel and I fold it in half, fold it in half again, and I fold it that way, and I make a little tab like that. And this is the way that you should have probably applied this. And then just dip it like a paintbrush.
Should we be catching the drip running down the inside of the leg?
Yep. And the outside.
Well, there's no brush to clean.
Yeah.
Just don't take your
Yeah.
towel away.
That's right. No brush to clean.
And if you just wanted to do that top, you'd have to spend 5 or 10 minutes just clean the brush versus fill out the towel line.
Not a high investment to.
No.
Is that a little spots right here?
Brush out. This is Meg's tale. It's.
Now, one of the nice things about this is that it does have an open time so that you can come back and if the person watching you finish does say the spot that you missed in the middle of the table, you can
What
come
exactly
back.
are you wiping on right now?
It's a wipe-on collar. It's an oil-based collar.
This one's a mid-wax.
Now, can you thin down your regular polyurethane, make an inside wipe on poly, or
Absolutely.
does it have another additive in it to make it white?
No, you can just,
You can wipe.
and as you can see, you can you have a fairly generous open time with this stuff.
Is there anything that can be done if you are so inattentive that you miss a drip and it like solidifies?
Yeah, you just let it dry and then take a chisel and just slice it off.
Do you need to put another coat over the top of that siding, or is it just with a hand?
Well, you try not to get drips in the
Make
first
sure
place.
that Nate goes down.
Now, this deal with layers, right? It doesn't melt the lower.
No, these don't melt together. So this is just sitting on top of it. So that's why I had we steel wooled it to give it some what we call tooth, or so that it adheres.
The eye at the time, he's actually this year one about how it finishes and looks. I don't really know. I know how I want it. He's the one that will obsess about getting it there.
Well, this is going to dry to a satin sheen. So while it may